Well, well, well. Looks like I'm back in Destiny 2 for Witch Queen. For those of you who are aware of my previous work on the Angry Joe Show, you know that I have a very love-hate relationship with the game. Mostly hate. In fact, I'd say my review on Shadowkeep was one of the most frustrating things I've ever recorded, and Beyond Light's launch really didn't help my optimism towards Destiny 2's future. It's just that Destiny 2 as a game to me has always been a great and solid foundation with horrible design decisions and backwards logic being applied to it. You have a game with the literal best, in my opinion, shooting and movement in an FPS game, basically an FPS game has ever had, and a narrative you could do so much with, just being held back so strongly by shitty season passes, a ton of reused content, and poor balancing decisions. I think SkillUp put it the best I've ever heard by saying that Destiny 2 is a game that you can love, but also never want to suggest to your friends because it's a constant disappointment. So, a few days ago I put up a prediction video on Witch Queen. It'll be in the description, but it generally just highlighted my immense concern with this expansion based on previous expansions Bungie has done in the past. You had worries like crafting being a new form of sunsetting, content gating, insane grind, short story, all things that were entirely possible, nay, even probable to be in Witch Queen at launch being part of that prediction video. Anyway, I guess the question is, were my predictions right? And it really hurts to say this, but I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong. Yes, Bungie actually did it. They actually produced solid content that was worth the price tag at launch. Not only that, but they made it an engaging story that actually told you things straight up, not requiring me to watch 16 hours of Bife on YouTube, I think it's pronounced my name is Bife, to understand even and comprehend even the simplest things. Thank fucking God. Now, that's not to say that Witch Queen isn't without a few major flaws that I'll go over later, but when your bar is as low as Shadowkeep and Beyond Light's launch, it is just so much better. Which is great, because I genuinely think that Witch Queen was Bungie's last chance to stop their rampant descent downhill and really show the world that they were still even moderately competent. So what made Witch Queen so much better than the last two expansions? For starters, the visuals have definitely been kicked up a notch. Sure, the engine is still dated, runs like crap sometimes, and has horrible issues on their back end, like tick rate, but it's still real pretty. So much so that I have no issues in saying that Destiny 2 is consistently one of the best looking games on the market, and Savathun's homeworld is no exception to that beauty. There's stunning new effects, kick-ass new gun models, amazing locals and environments, incredible skyboxes, and of course, sweet new armor. It's all, in my opinion, better looking than previous content, so I'm entirely happy with it. There was nothing new that I saw that was ugly by any means, and everything fit the theme of what we were doing and who we were fighting, and yeah, just all good, entirely satisfying. Not to mention, accompanying this visual orgasm of scenery was one of the best soundtracks for a Destiny expansion to date, with some absolute bangers being present at perfect times during your playthrough. The game still runs buttery smooth for the most part on PC, which is what I played on, with the only lag I found showing up if you leave your game running for more than a dozen hours straight. Go figure. There's also some issues with inventory load stutter, but the frame rates in the new areas are high and don't detract from the experience in the slightest. As far as story length and content goes, I was quite happy with Witch Queen's platter, what they had to offer. There's a pretty beefy campaign, about 6 or so hours long on standard difficulty if you're decent, with no mandatory grind present through that campaign at all. One of my biggest complaints in the previous expansions like Shadowkeep's storylines is that you had to stop progressing and then just grind random crap to progress through tedious activities or what have you, but that's just simply not the case here. If you want, you're more than capable of powering through the story, getting a good amount of gear upgrades and experiencing the new crafting system while you do so. The progression is intuitive, easy to understand, and fun to do, with at no point making the player feel like they're doing chores, and that's really important in an MMO storyline. On top of the basic campaign difficulty, they added a legend difficulty, a campaign version with a locked lower light level against higher light level enemies, rewarding players who go through it with more loot for the effort. At the end of the legend campaign, you get a full set of 15-20 light level equipment, skipping a good amount of the grind to the powerful cap, definitely making it worth doing if you're able, and honestly, it's a lot of fun. I did this straight out the door from 1350 right at the beginning of the expansion with a few friends and didn't struggle all that much, so I encourage people to at least give it a shot if you think you're fairly decent.
Get me closer, Guardian. I have to see.
You want to
Oh!
This is it. Shield on shield. Here we go. If he activates it.
What is that ghost helping to hide? We have to stop its ghost. There's no other way.
Execute. Crush it. Crush it.
Die,
That
ghost!
thing is not like me. You
got
see
it,
that,
ghost.
right?
Crush it.
I can't believe this.
The storytelling, though, through this campaign is superb, not leaving much up to speculation and really giving that Halo sort of vibe that Bungie was known for a long time ago. You get told who the primary bad guy is, obviously Savathun, or well, I guess in this case, Bad Bug, what she's up to and what you need to do to fix it, and what's going on in the background during it. There's not much guesswork or anything through the campaign that leaves you going, what? Who? Why? Where's the Bife video? And again, thank God for that. A lot more is learned too through investigation missions at a mission board, something I can't show too much without spoiling, and that's just an awesome addition. Couple all that with high talent voice acting and constant interactions between you and Savathun, and mwah, I just loved it. And maybe I have lower standards now because of previous expansions, but God, Witch Queen is just so much better in that regard. Void got reworked, which brought it up in line with Stasis. Generally an overall improvement and honestly an enjoyable change to the previous way Void was designed. It's nice to mix and match different abilities and buffs, really allowing you to customize your playstyle in Void as much as you can with Stasis. Try it, lots of various things you can do. So what about activities? Well, you've got the standard fare in the New Throne world, running around, doing public events, completing bounties for new characters, etc., but also a solid few new things to do. First, there's the new strikes, the birthplace of the Vial and the Lightblade, both of which are solid and enjoyable. Next, you've got the Wellspring, which is pretty much like a Dares of Eternity or Ascendant Plane. Wellspring involves Savathun's source of light, with you attacking or defending, which alternates day by day. There's a handful of bosses that switch about as well, really not making it feel like a chore to have to do this over and over again. Altars of Reflection are another thing that you'll be doing, which I can't talk about too much without spoiling, but I enjoyed them and they give you even more insight into what's going on. A raid is coming, of course, which I haven't had a chance to do because it's not out, called Vow of the Disciple, so you have that to look forward to in the future. For the record, I think pretty much every raid Destiny 2 has ever put into their game has been solid, so with the quality of the current content, I don't doubt that it'll be good. So what about weapon crafting, this big thing that was added that everyone was hyped about? Did it add a lot to the game? Did it revolutionize weapons? Did it invalidate everything in your vault previously? The answer to all of these is not really. Weapon crafting in Witch Queen involves you getting drops of specific weapon types, unlocking their schematic by using them or doing investigations, and then filling a bar that progresses through activity progression and kills, and then going to a terminal and making a new one. When you craft a weapon, be it new, exotic, or legendary, you'll be able to choose which perks are on it. These perks will cost a varying amount of materials of different types that you grind for by using resonant specific weapon drops, rewarding you when you fill the bar once again. It's very rinse and repeat to earn resources. Get gun, grind gun, pick resource you want, delete gun, get gun, etc. But it's not awful and pretty quick if you're targeting a specific weapon trait set to build on a weapon. That's a mouthful. I personally like being able to target specific roles I want without having to pray to the god of RNG, and overall I'd say weapon crafting is a solid improvement to the game. I think there's about 12 new legendary weapons and a handful of exotics, all mostly able to be customized in this weapon crafting bench the way you want. You'll also be able to craft and upgrade some older things. I won't put them in a list or name them off, but there are some things you get to remake, so I was pretty happy for that. Oh, and quick note before we move on, the new exotic SMG is probably one of the most insanely broken guns for PvE that's ever graced Destiny 2. You'll see what I mean when you get it, it's a complete blast. Now let's talk about the Season Pass, the Season of the Risen, and if it adds value or improves the game in any way. I won't lie, I hate battle passes in games that you already paid money for. Honestly, in previous expansions, it's been one of the worst things to get almost no content at launch and then have to pay for content we should have had each time a new season comes out. Season of the Risen, however, is pretty good, and with the solid amount of base content you get for Witch Queen, I really don't have a lot to complain about in that regard. The season activity is called PsyOps Battlegrounds and it's located in the Helm. It has you figuring out side story stuff tied directly to the Witch Queen story and rewards you fairly well. It's really just your standard fare of go kill bad guys, kill bad guy boss, loot chest, loot special chest with resource, rinse and repeat. There's only one map I think right now too, as far as I could see after trying it 15 to 20 times, so that's a bummer, but I'm sure they will add more in the future. There's bounties, gear specific for it, and 2 exotics, a grenade launcher and a heavy machine gun, with one of them having an absolutely awesome exotic quest. So yeah, take that as you will. I'd say the $10 price tag is justified in A-OK, or, you know, having it included if you buy the deluxe edition. Okay, anyway, so remember when I said there were a few major flaws in Witch Queen and the direction Destiny is going at the start of the review? Personally, I feel as if the game still tries to dictate what you do and how you do it way too much. When I play an MMO, I want to be able to do what I want when I want without being cornered into behaving a specific way. It's an escape. It's something that you're supposed to be able to hop on and have fun with and still be moderately successful at the game. In Destiny 2, however, I feel as if we're losing that more and more. What I mean is look at things like bounties. They're pretty much mandatory to be done to progress at a decent rate through the season artifact to get light level power. This light level power makes the game easier and is required for a few activities, so I'd say the grind is mandatory. Bounties force you to play a specific way, removing choice. They make you use X type of gun with X element while performing X thing, and given the volume that you have to go through, it's almost non-stop. Now, with the addition of weapon crafting, this is even worse, as each dropped weapon you need to attune is basically another bounty you're forced to fill if you want to even have a chance to utilize weapon crafting, which I think itself will become mandatory for quest stuff and progression in the future. You have to use these guns even if you don't want to. I mean, what's the point of having all this cool stuff if you're never really allowed to use it? I currently always feel cornered into having to do weapon attunement, leveling new weapon XP, or doing bounties, and it just feels awful in that regard. What makes it all feel awful though isn't just any singular one thing just to specify, as I like the weapon crafting on its own. As previous stated, it's everything else combined together. You got bored of leveling the battle pass? I genuinely think the seasonal light level was the worst thing they added to this game in the history of Destiny. I hate it. I hate having to regrind every fucking season. I hate that so much. To be able to do content I already paid for, that's so fucking stupid, man. It's like, oh, I did the grind. Well, new season, gotta do it over again to be able to play the game. Ha 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 ha.
So all my levels reset. Back to the beginning. Now we have nothing.
It feels good to play Destiny 2 how you want, and we really just don't get to do that anymore. We're always hamsters in a hamster wheel running towards loot, and man, I just want it to stop. I just want to play the game. Don't get me wrong, Witch Queen in a lot of ways is a huge step in the right direction, but they really need to be careful about the control they're pushing on the players. I think it's important to remember that this game is mostly casual players playing with friends and having fun, and I hope over this expansion it leans back into that and focuses on that entirely. Anyway, with that venting out of the way and all that I could summarize in about under 30 minutes being said, I guess the question to answer now is Witch Queen worth it? The answer is yes. I would suggest this expansion to any old player returning to the game, any player who hasn't quit, and any player who wants to start for their first time playing Destiny 2. It's a great story with superb gameplay held up by impressive visuals. It's content that feels as if OG Bungie made it, and I had a blast the entire way through, barring my other complaints that are unrelated specifically to this expansion. With all that in mind, my final score for Destiny 2 Witch Queen is going to be a solid 8 out of 10, with the chance to push even higher over the season being an entirely likely possibility. Yeah, I actually said it. I think you should try Witch Queen. You should buy a Destiny expansion. And wow, those are words I never thought I'd say again. I fully expect the content that they hit us with in the future to be good if this is what the beginning of the expansion is like, and I look forward to it. Destiny's always been my dirty little secret game I play in my personal time, 4,100 hours by the way, and with Witch Queen it's just gonna eat up even more. Anyway, thanks for watching as always, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy the video and you want to support the channel, remember it's brand new and needs the help. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell. YouTube's algorithm is still a heartless jerk, and every single time you do that, it helps. Let me know personally what you thought about the game in the comments, and be sure to leave suggestions for what I should review next. Some awesome indie titles fall through the cracks, and I'd appreciate it. Until the next video, I'll be seeing ya. Bye. So, a few days ago I put up a prediction video on Witch Queen. It'll be in the description, but it generally just highlighted my immense concern with this expansion based on previous expansions Bunny has done in the past. Bunny is not a company. So, a few days ago I put up a prediction video on Witch Queen. Fucking Bunny. Why did I say Bunny? That's gonna haunt me, dude. I'm gonna call Bungie Bunny. So, a few days ago, I put up a prediction video on Witch Queen. It'll be in the description, but it generally just highlighted my immense concern with this expansion based on previous expansions that Bunny had...